Welcome back, students. So now we will go through our second lecture, that will be anatomy of heart. In this lecture we will study about the location of heart, structure of heart, how many chambers and how many valves our heart contain, and at the end we will go through the pathway of blood flow through the heart. Means how the blood is flowing through your heart into your body parts. Fine. So here we will start first with the location of heart. Location of heart means where our heart is situated. So basically your heart is in a shape of a fist or a size of a fist. Simply, if you can see, this is our fist, and in this fist, this is near about is your size of your heart. That is about 12 centimeters long, 9 centimeters wide, and 6 centimeters thick. On an average, your heart weighs 250 to 300 grams. Fine. Now, where your heart is located or where your heart is situated, the area where our heart is situated is termed as the mediastinum region. Fine. The heart lies in your mediastinum region. Now, this region is present at this place. Fine. So, this place can be elaborated as your heart is situated in between your sternum from the front side, means from anterior ways it is your sternum that is present, and from the posterior side or the back side it is the vertebral column that is present. Fine. So your heart is situated in between your sternum and your vertebral column. Anteriorly sternum is present and posteriorly vertebral column is present. That is the front and back section. Now it is present in between your lungs. Fine. Front side sternum, back side your vertebral column. Sideways it is the lungs that is present. From the upper region it is the first rib. This is our rib cage where it is getting started. So it is the first rib where your heart starts up to your diaphragm region. So in this picture you can see this is your first rib. Fine. So from here your heart is starting and it is residing upon the diaphragm. So top region it is the first your your first rib. Downside it is the diaphragm. Fine. Front portion anteriorly it is the sternum and back side it is the vertebral column. Fine. And the both sides it is having the lungs. So that is where your heart is situated or your heart is located. This region is your mediastinum region. Fine. Now this is a pointed part of your heart and this pointed part is termed as the apex. Fine. This pointed part is termed as the apex. This apex is formed by the tip of the left ventricle. Fine. And this stands or rests on the diaphragm. Fine. Now, how your heart is anatomically? What is the structure of our heart? So, basically, when we go through the layers of our heart, there are 4 layers. Fine. So, the first layer or the innermost layer is termed as the endocardium. Endo means inner and cardium is the layer. Fine. So, this is the innermost layer, that is the endocardium. This endocardium is a thin, smooth layer and this provides an easy blood flow of blood so that it can travel easily throughout the heart without any abruption. The second layer is myocardium. Myo is muscle. Myo means muscle. So the second layer or the middle layer, that is in between middle, that is the myocardium or the muscular layer, and this is the thickest layer of your heart, which helps in the contractility of the heart so that it can pump out the blood into the blood vessels. So it is the thickest layer and it pumps the blood. The next layer is the epicardium. This is the epicardium. As we have seen, this is the myocardium innermost, it is the epicardium, and in between it is the thickest layer, that is your myocardium. So what this epicardium is? Epicardium, it is a thin serous membrane and it is the outermost layer of your heart wall. Fine. Now, after your epicardium, we have a thin layer of pericardium, that is a double layer of pericardium. So here this double layer is made up of fibrous as well as serous membrane. Fine. So the outermost layer is your fibrous pericardium and the inner layer is your serous pericardium. In this picture we can see here, this is your fibrous pericardium and this light brown color structure, that is your serous membrane or serous pericardium. So this serous pericardium makes a fold here. It makes a U-shaped fold here. Fine. And in this U-shaped region, in this blank region, there is a fluid that is present. This fluid is termed as pericardial fluid, which is flowing in the pericardial cavity. Fine. This pericardial cavity is present in between the epicardium and the serous pericardium. Fine. So what this pericardial fluid is providing? This pericardial fluid is reducing the friction and erosion between the tissues of these membrane. So if there is erosion or friction in between these two layers, the heart will not show a smooth activity. During its contraction and relaxation process, there will be problems. So for the easy contractility and without any friction, this pericardial fluid is present here. Fine. So the next part is the chambers of your heart. Basically, our heart is divided into 4 chambers. Our heart is divided into 4 chambers. As you can see here, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So there are 4 chambers all in our heart. So the upper 2 chambers, this is on the basis, they are divided on the basis of simply their position, right side of our body and left side of our body. Fine. So this blue region is the right side and the pink region is your left side. Fine. So the upper 2 chambers are the receiving chambers. Receiving chambers means they are receiving blood either from the lungs or from our tissues. Fine. Whereas the lower chambers, which are termed as ventricles, they are the pumping chambers. Fine. So basically we are dividing our heart into 4 chambers. The upper 2 chambers are termed as atria, that is right atrium and left atrium. When we talk about in general, we say it as atria, and when we are talking about the single part, at that time we say that it is an atrium. So the upper parts are right atrium and left atrium. Similarly, the lower region are the pumping chambers, which are right ventricle and left ventricle. Fine. So we will start with one by one. So the first one is your right atrium. What your right atrium is doing is, right atrium is a thin walled chamber. This right atrium is a thin walled chamber near about 2 to 3 mm in size. The thickness is 2 to 3 mm and it receives blood that is low in oxygen, which is returning from the tissues. Fine. So from all of our body, tissues, the blood will be taken up by the veins, that is the superior and inferior vena cava, and these veins collectively drop the deoxygenated blood into the right atrium. That is the first section. Fine. Next, once your blood enters into right atrium, further it has to move down. So, your heart from right atrium will enter into right ventricles. Right ventricle is slightly thicker as compared to your right atrium. So, your right ventricle is 4 to 5 mm thick, and it pumps your venous blood that is received from right atrium to the lungs. So, here we are received our blood first into your right atrium. From right atrium your blood has entered into your right ventricle. Right ventricle will move your blood into the lungs section. Fine. Now, after your blood has entered into the lung section for the oxygenation process, it will again come back to your lungs. It will again come back to your heart, that is directly into your left atrium. That is the third place. First place was right atrium, second was your right ventricle, third place is your left atrium. Left atrium is having the thickness same as that of your right atrium. So, it receives blood that is high in oxygen content. So, here the left atrium is receiving the blood that is having high oxygen content. Fine. And this oxygen containing blood is received through your pulmonary veins. Fine. And once your blood has reached into your left atrium, now it has to move further, that is to the fourth section of your heart, that is your left ventricle. Now, left ventricle is the thickest chamber of your heart. Left ventricle is the thickest chamber of your heart as compared to your previous sections like your right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, which are having a thickness range between 3 to 5 mm. Here your left ventricle is having a thickness range of 10 to 15 mm. This is quite thick. You can see here the range, because your left ventricle is the one that is pumping out the oxygenated blood into your aorta with the maximum capacity, with the maximum strength, and that's why here muscular portion should be more. Fine. So, this is the four chambers of your heart: right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle and left ventricle. Now, there should not be any sort of mixing of blood in between, like your heart is containing both the type of bloods. It contains oxygenated blood as well as it contains deoxygenated blood. So, if the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood mix up together in the heart only, our body won't get any oxygen. Fine. So, to prevent this, the heart chambers are completely separated from each other. The heart chambers, that is your atria and ventricles, are completely separated from each other with the help of a partition. This partition is termed as septum. This is your septum. This region is your septum here. So, the first or the upper zone is termed as interarterial septum. Interarterial septum is the one which separates your upper zone or the atria. If your right atrium and left atrium are separated, they are separated with the help of interarterial septum. Similarly, go down, it is the interventricular septum, which is separating both of your ventricles. That is, it is separating your right ventricle with the left ventricle. Fine. So, once our chambers are done, we have 4 chambers. Now we know that we have 4 chambers. Now we will go through the valves. Now valves are the flap-like structures which allow the flow of blood in a restricted manner. Means whenever a valve is open, the blood flows through it, and if the valve is closed, there won't be any flow of blood. So we have 4 valves in our heart. We have 4 valves in our heart. So the first one is right atrioventricular valve. Atrioventricular valve is also termed as tricuspid valve, as tri means 3 and cuspid is cusp or cup-like structure. So 3 cup-like structures are situated one above the other and it makes up a tricuspid valve, which is also termed as right atrioventricular valve, that is situated in between your right atrium and right ventricle. Fine. And whenever this valve open, your blood is moving freely from right atrium into your right ventricle. Next valve is your left atrioventricular valve, which is also termed as bicuspid valve. So this left atrioventricular valve allows the blood flow from left atrium to left ventricle. So there is 2 valves that we have gone through here, right AV valve and left AV valve, that is tricuspid and bicuspid valve. So here it is the situation, that is your tricuspid valve, and here it is your bicuspid valve. Next 2 valves are your pulmonary valve and aortic valve. Pulmonary valve is also termed as your semilunar valve. Fine. So this semilunar or pulmonic valve is present in between your right ventricle and pulmonary trunk. This is your right ventricle and this is your pulmonary trunk. So when your blood is flowing from right ventricle into the pulmonary section, into the lung section, then it is crossing the pulmonic valve. Similarly, when your blood is flowing in between your left ventricle and aorta, means once your blood has come back into your left atrium, from left atrium it enters into left ventricle, and now from here, from left ventricle, it has to exit the body, exit into the aorta, here where your aortic valve is present, as it is present between your left ventricle and aorta. That's why it is termed as aortic valve. Fine. So we have 4 chambers of our heart, that is right atria, right ventricle, left atria and left ventricle. Similarly, we have 4 valves in our heart, that is right and left atrioventricular valve, then pulmonary valve and aortic valve. Fine. So these all together means your chambers and your valves all together will now show the blood flow, that is the pathway of blood flow. So we can go through the blood flow as the first point, that is superior and inferior vena cava. What the superior and inferior vena cava are doing? These are the largest vein in our body. They are taking up the blood from our body, that is throughout your tissues. It is collecting the blood and it is dropping your blood into the right atrium. That is the first portion. Fine. Your blood flow starts with right and right atrium, where the blood is being dropped with the help of superior and inferior vena cava. Once your blood reaches the right atrium, it further crosses the valve. The valve here is tricuspid valve or right atrioventricular valve. So, from right atrium it is entering via tricuspid valve into right ventricle. From right atrium it drops down into the right ventricle. Fine. Now, from right ventricle where deoxygenated blood is present, now this deoxygenated blood will cross one more valve, that is the semilunar valve, and will enter into the pulmonary trunk. Fine. So, here it is the pulmonary artery that will carry the deoxygenated blood into your lungs. Once the blood enter into the lungs, it is doing the gaseous exchange, that is, it is giving away all the carbon dioxide to the lungs and it takes up all the oxygen from the lungs. And once after taking the oxygen from the lungs, your blood becomes oxygenated. Now, this oxygenated blood enters back into the left atrium of your heart. Fine. So, here the entry is again back into your heart, that is the left atrium via pulmonary veins. Fine. As we have seen, here it is the pulmonary artery that is taking your blood into the lungs and the pulmonary vein that is taking it away from the lungs into the heart. Fine. So, once your blood reaches back into your left atrium, it further crosses a valve that is termed as mitral valve, and from mitral valve, as it crosses the mitral valve, it enters into the left ventricle. Fine. So, from left ventricle, it again crosses the aortic valve that is present in between your left ventricle and the aorta. Here the left ventricle and aorta is there. In between these two, your aortic valve is present. It crosses it and it enters into the aorta. So, once your blood enters into the aorta, it is getting distributed throughout your body with the help of coronary artery, which moves your blood to the upper section of your body. Then the arch of aorta that is getting distributed to the lower part of your body, and the descending thoracic aorta, which is distributing your blood into the thoracic section, that is the upper chest section of your body. So, once after distribution, as your blood has reached to all the parts of your body, it will go for the gaseous exchange, means the oxygenated blood will be going to individual tissue level, where the oxygen will be taken up by the tissues and tissues will give up the carbon dioxide. Now, that carbon dioxide containing blood will be collectively collected with the help of veins, and the veins will get together again to convert, and it gets converted into larger veins, that is superior and inferior vena cava, and again the same process will go on, that is the superior and inferior vena cava will take away the blood and it drops it down again to your right atrium. So, in this picture we can again see here that this is the first point, that is the superior and inferior vena cava, superior and inferior vena cava, that is taking up the blood into the right atrium. From right atrium, the blood enters into your right ventricle by crossing right atrioventricular valve. From right ventricular, your blood is moving into the pulmonary trunk. Here the valve is pulmonic valve. Once your blood enter into the pulmonary trunk, here it goes for an oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange, where your blood gets oxygenated. Once your blood is oxygenated, it gets back again into your left atrium. Fine. So, once your blood, oxygenated blood, reaches back into your left atrium, it further crosses one more valve, that is left atrioventricular valve or the bicuspid valve. So, after crossing this bicuspid valve, your blood enters into the left ventricle. From left ventricle, which is the thickest zone, one of the thickest zone or the pumping chamber, it pumps out your blood into the aorta by crossing the aortic valve. Fine. So, once your blood reaches into the aorta, it then gets dissipated throughout your body. Fine. Again, for the same purpose, that is gaseous exchange, oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange, where your blood that is high in oxygen is going to the individual tissue levels. From tissues, it will take up the carbon dioxide and give away the oxygen, and it will again come back into the veins. Fine. And again it will drop it into the right atrium. So, this cycle goes on and on and on. Fine. So, in this way the pathway of blood flow goes. So, all in all we can say that our heart is consisting of 4 chambers. Fine. Right atrium, left atrium, and both the atrium are termed as receiving chambers. Why receiving chambers? Because they receive blood. Fine. They receive blood. Right atrium is receiving blood from the tissues or from the body parts via superior and inferior vena cava, whereas your left atrium is receiving blood from the pulmonary section. Fine. Now, the lower zone, lower chambers are right ventricle and left ventricle. They are also termed as the pumping chambers. Pumping chambers, why? Because they pump out the blood. And where they are pumping out? Right ventricle is pumping your blood into the pulmonary section or pulmonary trunk, whereas left ventricle is pumping your blood into the body or the systemic circulation. So, again go back to your first lecture where we have gone through the pulmonary circuit and the systemic circuit. So, both these circuits are getting together here with the help of your heart. Fine. So, all this text has been taken up from these references, that is Rosen-Wilson, Tortora and Donald C. Rizzo. Fine. Thank you for your patient listening.